Ahoy, mateys, pilgrims, peacemakers, spiritual fellow travelers, marking their own way into the multiverse. It is I, your homie, your traveling, wandering troubadour, seeker and finder of myths and truths, Trey Smith, in this my spot on YouTube and Odyssey and other places. Trey's Myths and Tunes and Trey's Timeless 15, my daily show. Trey's Timeless 15 Minutes of Explain. And today I'm asking you to please learn to just say no to official reality and California indigo harvesting. It's an ONICAL awareness and reality instead. We've come too far to let the fakes steal it all. 'Cause you know, you just take and push them down in the drain too far. So I gotta roll, 'cause I thought that you know the fakest gods of all. At least they're leaving it warm, but they're making it icy. They're making a cool breeze, trying to harm me with nanobots and these. So I'll spend the whole day funky. I'll spend the whole day stoned, acting silly like a monkey just to help me feel at home. Is it the end or the beginning? Or how about another ending? About how when you know true love is never ending. I gotta roll, 'cause I thought that y'all know the fakest gods of all are so sure that they stole it all. Your body's your soul in the sky anymore. So I'll spend the whole day funky. I'll spend the whole day stoned, acting silly like a monkey just to help y'all feel at home. Just say no to official reality and California indigo harvesting. Instead, say yes to ONICAL reality and awareness. And what is ONICAL? I made up that term. It means you're on. It means you're aware that you are the creator. If you're harmless and respectful and you have discernment, you make the choice to create a beautiful reality on the now moment. Right now, planet Earth is going through the great bifurcation. And this is a response. This video is partially a response to Indigo Angel's post a few nights ago about California. And also a response to the dark sides not allowing me to access online yesterday. You know, the deep dark side, whether it was AI, alien, Illuminati, NSA trolls, whoever, whatever. You know, it could have been the exact certain spot I went to where I'm very certain that they hang out. They didn't like having me there, so they put their bug on my pooter. So when the Santa Cruz voluntarists met, you know, every Saturday, and David James Rodriguez told everyone the truth about awareness, similar to what I do here, the Cliff's Notes, the bare bones version of the basic truths you need to know, and but in a much more charming way, as he had a following of 200 on Facebook, and about 10 or 20 people would, mostly older people, but all ages, would bring folding chairs and just listen to him talk. And you know, I saw CIA guys there several times at those events. During the lockdown, he had a party every Saturday. Like at least 2 times, people fed me shrooms. And one time I was on shrooms. This young man was about blonde-headed. He said almost nothing, or he said nothing as far as I could tell, all black. His clothes were all black. I walk up to him and I said, I just want you to know the good part is the real part. And he said, well, whatever you say, man. And because I could tell he was an undercover. So, you know, for verbally bitch slapping the devil on YouTube, as I used to do as a street preacher in this town, and as a born again Gnostic here, about 200 miles from Hollywood or so, a little more than 200. For stating the truths that are unwanted and denied in the mainstream media, I was shadow banned. I had to deal with massive shadow banning and have these AI parasites or NSA trolls not allow me access. Yesterday, I didn't put this in my email to Indigo Angel, but I'm sure that I emailed this long email to her that put me on their list even more so, or their radar more so. So I didn't mention to her that, you know, 3 or 4 days out of the week for several days, several weeks out of last month, they just wouldn't let me online in Santa Cruz County. And I'm certain it's a locational thing. I'm one county over from Santa Clara with that Hadron Collider pointed at me here, as you pointed out, dear. I'm so tragic. So many Illuminati and terrible blood rituals happening right around me here in this county. I call it the democracy. Socialism, the consensus-based reality was used against them in the acid test. Okay, I've mentioned this in previous transmissions. You know, there's one of the first revealing documentaries on YouTube before it was ever censored and controlled by the CIA and Google or filtered through the shadow banners in the Ring of Fire. They claim that some people in the Rothschilds paid Asley to do the acid test. Put a stop to the war protest movement, but of course Kent State did a better job of that. And Timothy Leary was a CIA guy, you know, and he was a CIA guy who taught at Harvard, or he was working for CIA and teaching at Harvard, and he was trying to start a religious movement based around LSD. He told people turn on, tune in, and drop out. You know, the official version of California hippie was basically orchestrated by the CIA, the man-hater, so to speak, what Rush Limbaugh called the man-hater, or the lesbian that hates men. That movement was orchestrated by Gloria Steinem, who was actually a happily married heterosexual woman who was working with the CIA to create the false modern feminist movement, which is more, I would say, I call it the anti... Anyway, there's an Adrienne Rich, huge painting of Adrienne Rich's, this angry feminist lesbian from a wealthy family on the utilities pole about the women's elimination movement is what I was going to say. I call it the women's elimination movement. Okay, so this Adrienne Rich, huge painting of her face on this utilities thing on Soquel Avenue. About a mile down the road from that is a a life-size photograph of Neil Cassidy in the bus stop celebrating the acid test and Neil Cassidy. And so we have a rich local about 57-year-old history of the movement, the acid test, the CIA working to orchestrate the separation. And a friend of mine was the biggest hash smuggler in the world for a couple of years, and he actually worked with he had a secret society that only ran LSD and hash and weed, but he had a CIA guy's son and a senator's son in the club, and so he got away with it for a few years. But then he told me that Timothy Leary is the one who busted him, so there you go. And he had to do a little time. So they orchestrated this separation. You got to realize the negative aliens, the evil anti-life beings that are trying to destroy this planet successfully in some circles right now. Their motto has always been divide and conquer. You know, not just with money, but through ideologues, through racism. Now we have the critical race theory, which J.P. Sears and others have that Jordan Peterson has interviewed have proven that they've brought that into the school system. Third world style housing at, like for example, at the University of California, Santa Cruz here, that basically their students are piled on top of each other. Some before the lockdown, I don't know the figures now, it was roughly 10% houseless, couch surfing, sleeping here in the forest. Basically third world style housing, and now we have the city of Santa Cruz is actually suing the University of California, Santa Cruz, because they refuse to stop bringing too many students here for the space that they have and the housing they have built. The city of Santa Cruz is having to sue these fools because they refuse to not have it be a steal their parent thousands of dollars from their parents, basically take the thousands of dollars from their parents for their education and then shove them into this third world style housing deal. It's pretty sick. And this obviously, like I say, this is why I don't want Section 8 housing. There's always the tweaker next door. There's always the built-in oppression, the built-in suffering in these situations, okay? Every part of the Babylon system wants you to suffer to get used to it so that you realize, go to school for 7 or 8 years to be a doctor, a lawyer, suffer, get rich, monopolize, or get rich off the suffering of others. This is what they want you to think life is about, okay? Because that's what it is in their inverted capitalistic system here, okay? So we have housing at the universities, and they cost insane rents, and most of the other rents around here are insanely high. Insane taxes, out of control survival costs. This makes it, people subconsciously think it's acceptable. Perhaps this is related to the dot-com boom. People told me over 20 years ago, they were offering around, before I got to Santa Cruz, they were offering around $20,000 over more than the asking price for mansions along West Cliff on more than 3 or 4 occasions. I heard, so that, this is some sick inverted Luciferianism right there to try to jack up the cost of living in Santa Cruz. This is the sickest example of the invisible hand of the market, one of the sickest I could think of. The market-controlled, out-of-control capitalism of Santa Cruz is fully insane, okay? On Front Street in Santa Cruz, I say they're trying to turn it into San Jose by the Sea, one huge building. Do you think the city council of Santa Cruz asked the people, they are asked permission or announced it? If anybody out there knows, I would like to get a comment. I seriously doubt it. California has long-term, multi-generational, extreme, evil alien infiltration and black magician controls built into almost every clique, particularly on the coast. The California land on plutocratic Draco corporate lockdown. Most California communities have been infiltrated and destroyed by Draco and Anunnaki forces. Like I say, about 3 or 4 years before the lockdown, they got rid of all the communities in this county, in Santa Cruz. Indigo Angels psychic research of harvest through isolation, the destruction of intentional communities in Santa Cruz, like I just said, it's partly due to the infiltration, man. Or it is due to that. Now, the question I have for the audience here is, am I the Drew Glover to YouTube? Does YouTube think of me as the Drew Glover? Because I post all these videos asking and begging everyone, including myself, the whole planet, to realize the only future trans is transparency, transcendence, transportation, translation, and not transhuman, and got a little more on this subject. But first, I want to give thanks to the one and only Almighty, respectful, divine Creator Christ, Mother, Father, Goddess, Love, Soul Helios, and the Divine Mother Earth for this gift of life, and my angel guides that brought me to this occasion. attain the courage, the self-respect, the discernment to even begin.